Hi guys, how are you? Here's Lucas Feldman. I'm here at BJJProtech in Brazil with my master and professor Jean Feijó. And we are here today just to show a technique. So I want to show armbar from the mount position. So there we go. So when my opponent is on the mount, he's laying there, right? First things first, he will be always defending himself. Would be great if he would be with his arms open here so I could just jump in an armbar, but that's not how it works on the reality. When my opponent knows a little bit of jiu-jitsu at least, he knows he's gonna be very tight, right? One of the first points that I want to get is his elbows apart from his body. And what I can use for that is my knees to start being here under his elbows. So he's starting to get separate. I start to isolate his elbows from his body. Secondly, I will start to have a control with one of my arms, which is usually here on the head, right? And my other arm I'm gonna use as a base in here. So controlling his head, what I want here is only to lift his head out of the floor, right? But I will need to lean towards the side that I have my hand posted, right? Because if I don't lean towards that side, if I stay on the middle or lean to the other side, my training partner can bridge over to that side, so ponte para mim, and I would fall there, right? So I will need to always be leaning more towards this side. Here I can control. I can control by leaning this side and of course keeping my feet tied here on his hip. And even if he bumps his hip high, I can use my feet under his legs or his bum and keep the control. So the control is very important for us to be able to get an attack or a submission. So going from this control, right, the other point that we're always gonna have our training partner with one of his arms over the other. We cannot choose which arm is over. But here to attack, I always try to attack, to isolate the arm that is over, because this arm can open easily, differently than this one that is protected by the other. So if I can choose a side to start attacking, I would choose this side because I can isolate this arm, right? So I can go from the idea of controlling the head, posting, getting a good control. Now I'm gonna start isolating the arm that is above, right? One of the easiest ways to get it is to try to get my elbow on that arm under his elbow. Here we could go walking our hand, but until we can get his arm over. Second way, it is if he's very tight, I will need to go as far as I can and now use my head to open. I'm using my body to open his arm. Here we're gonna go again. So controlling his head, right? I'm gonna control with my arm on his elbow. So I could walk if possible, but if not, I'm gonna go as high as I can. And now I go with my head, right? My opponent's still very tight. Yeah, so I go a little bit, walk with the hand. So my hand is just making sure his arm doesn't come back, and then I go again, right? Because what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to make his elbow pass the line of his shoulder. It's very hard for us to attack an armbar while his arm is close in here. It's hard for me to cross it or to attack because my opponent's keeping very tight. It's very hard, very hard. But when we pass the line of his elbow over his shoulder, like this, yeah, try to defend as much as you can. Here is quite easy for me to cross his arm over his face. So the idea is trying to lift the elbow over the shoulder, because here it gets quite easy to cross and to go to the attack. So just going again, elbow, use my head, walk a little bit, use my head until I pass. I'm gonna use now my arm that was holding the head. It will help to hold that arm until I can use my own head to make sure his arm is not coming back anymore, right? Next thing I need to do is to advance my knee here behind his shoulder, starting to come to an S mount, where this side is advanced, because now I don't need to be holding his head here anymore to not make me stuck with myself. So I can lift, pass to the other hand, and my other leg's gonna come controlling the other side of his shoulder. So I'm basically controlling his shoulder this side and this side as well. I'm controlling his shoulder line. Here is very hard for my training partner to escape. Try to move away to escape. Very hard. And I still have one arm free, right? From here, we are halfway to the armbar. So the armbar now, I already have the arm exposed, right? Common mistake in here, and one of the biggest challenges, is to pass this leg over the head. It's very heavy here, right? Even if I change, okay? So first thing I'm gonna do is to change the grips on the arm. My other arm that is free now, starting to go to the floor, and I'm gonna lean towards his legs. Now my leg gets very light to pass. As soon as he passes is when I'm gonna sit, right? I don't want to sit before my leg passes over his head. I don't want to sit, otherwise he's gonna come on top of me. So I make sure my body weight is stopping him to come up, staying very much on top of him. Try to come up, I pass. Boom, now I sit, and here I am to the armbar, right? A point that I find very interesting is to keep my chest connected to his elbow. If it's not connected, it's just the strength of my arm to bring him down, right? When I connect his elbow here to my chest, what is going to bring him back is my back muscles. So I go with my whole body to go to the back, to make sure I have this break and go to the finish. I could go with one arm, with the other controlling here. I can go with both arms as well until I arrived here. Make sure I align his stomach. And then the last point, when my training partner has a very, very good control here, is very tight, however he wants, right? One thing I like to do is I go with one arm, elbow deep, my elbow as deep as his elbow, and now my other arm is also gonna go there, but it's gonna go on his wrist. Yeah, keep very tight, professor. Foi bem fechadinho. Yes, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start opening his wrist as well. Correct? And then I finish the armbar. So just going from the position one more time, all of the way. Yes, making sure I have some distance in here. Control, right? I control, I lean to the side, get the arm, use my head. Advance, passing the elbow over the shoulder line, advance my knee. Now I'm gonna bring my other leg, change the legs in here, start to come to the side, right? Connect to his arm, pass my leg, get in here. Now time for the break. So I can go straight from here, connect my chest to his elbow, and bring using my back strength, or if he's holding even stronger, I'm gonna use elbow deep on his elbow and elbow deep on his wrist. I use this to break the connection of his hands and finish there. Thank you guys, that was amazing class. I hope you enjoy it, and that's it. Thank you, Professor, for giving me the opportunity. Study Jiu-Jitsu, study with BJJProtech.